Hey guys, this is Cody Jones with Jangus Genetics LLC, and just wanted to bring you along. I'm walking through the cows today, checking on them. We made a hard move yesterday, and I hear something bawling over here, so I'm wondering if we didn't get a calf stuck on the other side of the fence. So that, or he's just calling up mama for dinner time. Or we might be having a new calf. I see a cow down here that's doing some funky moves, so let's go check it out. But what I wanted to talk about today is one of the things that I do a lot of in the wintertime, and especially when I was first getting started in this, is reading books. And the reason that I love reading books is that books give you a lot of insight into how someone thinks and how they have processed that. Nope, she got up. No calf. So there's a lot of value in reading works that somebody's put a lot of time into preparing and a lot of hard lessons learned, getting to where they can write. And a few books that have made a big impact on me when I was first getting into the business. And I still like to read these books occasionally. One of them is this book right here. It's called Man, Cattle Veld, or Feld. I think the V is pronounced with a F. By Johann Zietsman. He's from South Africa. And something pretty cool about a lot of the guys that I've studied, Johann here, and then I took a class with Greg Judy. There was a South African gentleman there that was teaching. I can't recall his name right now, but I will. Anyway, just they get the opportunity to see a lot of large natural herds, and that's something we've kind of killed off in the United States. You know, we used to have buffalo and different things like that, but they're pretty well gone. But being able to study, Alan Savory's another one that I've read, holistic management and different things, and just really intelligent folks on what, because they get to learn from seeing it and what those large natural herds do and how they react and how they impact the environment. And Savory was he was a guy that he was a conservationist, and his story is pretty neat. Definitely recommend you check him out. He's got a TED Talk. He's a pretty famous fella too. And so Johann Zietsman took a lot of knowledge from Alan Savory. He took a lot of knowledge from another gentleman who really studied how cattle look and how they function in their natural body systems. And he was a guy that could really judge cattle just based on how they look and tell you pretty well what they were going to do and how they were going to perform and be profitable wise. And that guy was Jan Bonsma, Jan Bonsma. So Johann Zietsman's actually, I think, got a WhatsApp group. I need to figure out how to get on it, but he's still alive and well and teaching. I think Alan Savory, I still hear podcasts from him. And so these guys are real world people that have had a lot of different experiences, and Johann does a great job of taking all that knowledge that they've put together and putting it into a book. And man, let me tell you, it is a thick book, but it is an awesome book. There's lots of pictures in it. It's now an Audible book, an audio book on Audible. Another guy that he really talks about in the beginning is Tom Lassiter, the founder of the Beefmaster breed. And Johann says he built one of the most functionally efficient cow herds in the world. How you doing, buddy? That's my future herd bull there, I think, if he turns out right. But he's real gentle. He's got a good mom, and she's been doing it every year. So a lot of the things that I talk about and share with you guys are principles that maybe they didn't all come from this book, but they're all in this book. Just especially the calving at 2 years old, and finding cattle that'll do that and that'll perform without all the added inputs. Those cattle look different. And I grew up in the show calf world, and one of the things that we really look for in the show calf world is something that's going to be bigger than everything else, because it's cool, it attracts the judge's attention. You want them big, you want them long, and we were basically creating feedlot cattle in a lot of situations, and that changes throughout the years. My great grandpa said his mentor told him that Son, I've seen them get as little as ponies and as big as draft horses. Keep them somewhere in between. You'll catch them coming and going. And I think there's a lot of value in that statement. And the show world reflects that. As people think they get too small, they'll start selecting for bigger cattle, and they think they get too big, they'll start selecting for smaller cattle. So I just want to create cattle that function properly and are profitable on fescue. Something that'll come out here, make a high quality meat. We are selling some grass finished beeves. I think that's important. See what those cattle will do. If you put them on grain, the performance is awesome. All these things, we're in this business to make money, and everybody has a little bit different idea of what that looks like and how they want to do it. But just for the practical cattleman who is focused on grass, I think this book is indispensable. I think it's really good. He talks about cattle shape. He talks about rotation. He talks about moving cattle. One of the things that I really had to think about, I came back and I got into goats and couldn't keep them alive, so I switched to hair sheep, and I've had pretty good luck with hair sheep. You choked up, buddy? Got a calf that's choking on some grass. So I got into hair sheep, and one of the things that I never heard anybody talk about was parasite resistance, and the use of these chemicals that we're using to prop up our herds. It's becoming less and less every year, and we see that really rapidly in the sheep. The sheep are really susceptible to parasites. If you screw up, they're just dead if you don't treat them, and treating them is becoming less and less effective. So for me, I really had to learn to rotate, and let the pasture rest. And when I did that, I learned how to grow more grass, and I've applied all these things into my cattle business, but they're also in this book. Anyway, this is a great book. It's on Audible now. You won't get to see the pictures, so if you have the time and you like to read, check it out. If you don't, the Audible book is really good. Watch his videos. He's got some videos on YouTube that are pretty good. I think he's got some that were recorded by Jamie or Hamie Alonzo, who's running the Mashona cattle. So he talks about breeds in here too, which, I'm an Angus breeder. I'm not against other cattle, but this is just kind of what I've chosen to be doing and get my start on. But, the reason to have purebreds, in my opinion, is not to go out here and be the best cattle there ever were. They're to go out here and be the best cattle for creating hybridization for our commercial customers. So you could buy my cattle, throw them on your cattle, and you should get the best of both worlds. Now, I say that, I'm also trying to create the best Angus cattle on fescue in the world. So I'm studying that really hard, but you're never going to be able to beat the hybrid vigor of a crossbred. But you could take a registered Angus cow or purebred Angus cow, mix them with something like a Hereford, or if you're not against experimenting a little bit, you could throw some ear or some Mashona or some of those African type cattle that have that parasite resistance, and you create something really cool. That's not what I'm doing right now. But I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and I think that Angus is, especially the ones that are bred for fescue, like we're trying to do, are a valuable option to include in your crossbreeding program. So anyway, great book. Check it out. If you come from the show cattle world, this guy doesn't pull any punches. He's going to offend you, and I think it's great. I really enjoy somebody that's willing to say what they mean and mean what they say. And the reason that I like it so much in the way that he does it, he's going to explain why he thinks that. So even if you disagree with him, you can see where he's coming from. And that to me is the real value of a book. I can disagree with somebody, but I get to understand why. I do things a lot differently than a lot of these guys that I'm reading from. My climate's different. My cattle are different. My competitive advantages are different. And but you take the principles, you take the good, you leave the bad, and you make it better. And if you can get one thing out of a book, it's paid for itself. So check this book out, guys. It is awesome. Thanks.